Zazuz burst onto the scene like a supernova. He was loud, he was brash, and he absolutely did not care what you thought about it. His clothes were designer, a riot of colors and textures, and his hair? Don't even get me started on the hair. 5 different colors, meticulously dyed and styled, a walking, talking embodiment of individuality. He was different, and that's what drew people to him. At first anyway. His music was just as chaotic, a blend of genres that shouldn't have worked together but somehow did. His lyrics were raw, honest, sometimes brutally so. He sang about his struggles, his dreams, his anger at a world that seemed determined to keep him down. People connected with that rawness, with the feeling that here was someone finally giving voice to their own frustrations. But that fire, that same rebellious spirit that drew people in, soon began to consume everything in its path. The thing about being a walking, talking middle finger to the establishment is that, eventually, the establishment starts to get a little irritated. Zazuz's music, once celebrated for its honesty, began to draw criticism. Some called it too aggressive, too confrontational. Others accused him of glorifying negative lifestyles. The controversy seemed to follow him like a shadow, and as the criticism grew louder, so too did Zazuz's defiance. He fired back at his critics, both in interviews and on social media. His words became more and more inflammatory, his tone increasingly bitter. He seemed to be alienating the very people who had once championed him. Even his longtime promoter, a man who had taken a chance on Zazuz when no one else would, eventually cut ties with him, unable to keep up with the constant drama and controversy. It seemed like every other day, Zazuz was making headlines, and never for the right reasons. There were the public feuds with other artists, the Twitter wars with journalists who dared to criticize him, the increasingly erratic behavior caught on camera by fans and paparazzi alike. He seemed to be on a one-man mission to burn every bridge he crossed, leaving behind him a trail of broken relationships and scorched earth. Then came the incident in Ibadan. Zazuz was scheduled to perform at a music festival, one of the biggest events of the year. The crowd was hyped, ready to see the artist who had become a symbol of rebellion and defiance. But Zazuz, fueled by who knows what cocktail of anger and ego, took the stage and proceeded to launch into a tirade against the city, the audience, and anyone else within earshot. He insulted local traditions, mocked their accents, and generally acted like a spoiled child throwing a tantrum. The crowd, initially stunned into silence, responded with boos and jeers. It was a spectacular public meltdown, one that would cement Zazuz's reputation as a loose cannon. The latest chapter in the Zazuz saga involves a public call-out of a respected religious leader. Now, I'm all for speaking truth to power, but there's a difference between constructive criticism and just being plain disrespectful. And from what I've seen, this latest outburst falls squarely into the latter category. It's like he's actively trying to alienate everyone who still has a shred of goodwill left for him. There's an old proverb that says, "Pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall." It's hard not to see that playing out in real time with Zazuz. The talent is there, the raw potential undeniable. But talent can only take you so far. Eventually your character has to catch up. I genuinely hope that someone in his circle, someone who cares about him, can reach him before it's too late. Because the higher they climb, the harder they fall. And right now, Zazuz is on a one-way trip to the bottom.